This is Business Now here on Zodiac. My name is Banda. Coming up in this edition, MRA gets backlash on fixed duty on imported vehicles. Ilovo Sugar Malawi insists commodity prices remains competitive in the region. We have these and many more. Please stick around. To a major story in this edition of Business Now, the Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA, says that the specific customs duty on second-hand vehicles follows a request which was made by some people during the previous budget consultation meetings. Now, the Customs and Excise Tariffs Amendment number 4 of Order of 2023 introduced fixed duty on imported vehicles and was signed off by Minister of Finance Sosten Gwengwe and expected to be operational beginning the 15th of July 2023. MRA Deputy Commissioner for Facilitations, Chimwemwe Kawalewale, says that the specific tax duty will help car importers to know just how much they are going to be paying for the car that they have bought or imported from elsewhere. Let's have Kawalewale.
Yes, we felt as MRA that we needed to clarify on the Gazette notice that has just come out on the introduction of specific taxes on used motor vehicles. To say that traditionally in customs clearance, we do have ad valorem rates, ad valorem taxes that apply based as a rate on the value of the goods. And then again, we do have specific taxes that an amount that is actually imposed on a unit of a good that is being imported. So in this case, due to the nature of the trade transaction for used motor vehicles, government felt that it was necessary that we migrate to the specific taxes to afford importers of used motor vehicles and fair playing ground, and also introduce predictability in as far as collection of customs duties is concerned. Specific taxes, as mentioned earlier, is a tax that is levied or imposed on a particular item that does not relate to the value of the item that is being imported. In other words, a fixed amount is set as the customs duty or tax to be collected on that particular vehicle when it's being imported into the country. The major advantage of adopting specific taxes is that there will be uniformity in as far as the tax treatment is concerned. No single importer or will benefit as opposed to, rather no single importer will benefit more in terms of the taxes paid as opposed to what others are paying. The second thing is that there will be predictability. People will be able to choose the type of vehicle and the type of duty that they will be able to afford. And once that determination or that choice has been made, there will be no other charges that will be imposed. This is going to reduce instances of people being maybe defrauded or corrupt minds taking advantage of importers to actually demand some kickbacks and all that. So the environment or the playfield in as far as tax collection is concerned is going to be corrupt-free, predictable, and fair to all.
This fixed custom duty has not been welcomed by several stakeholders. The backlash ranges from the car importers themselves, rights groups, and others. First of all, let's hear from car importers chairperson Lusegelo Pili, who is giving us his reaction.
It's not official because the MRA has not communicated officially, but it looks like somebody leaked it and people saw it and I'm telling you, no, it was very devastating. Everyone is crying, everyone is down. They don't know what government is thinking about these people and their business. You know, people, especially the youth, there's no jobs in Malawi, and people, they rely on this small business. And when you look at the business of car dealing, these car dealers, they contribute a lot to the economy of this country in terms of revenue. If you can assess how much revenue these car dealers are contributing to this country, it's a lot. But it looks like they are not being appreciated. And the real concern which we have on this is because, we know that there's a spreadsheet coming, but this is not the type of spreadsheet which we were expecting.
Human rights defenders under the Human Rights Defenders Coalition, of course, have also asked the Malawi Revenue Authority to rescind this decision, saying it does not augur well in the prevailing economic challenges that Malawians are sailing through. Let's hear from Gift Trapens.
The tariffs that have been introduced when citizens are importing vehicles are on the higher side. We are saying this knowing that Malawians already pay different categories of taxes, and they are already highly, taxed. So you can't also penalize citizens that are already paying different types of taxes. I think the issue that we are raising here is about tax justice. Whenever people are paying tax, we are not saying that they should not pay that tax, but whenever they are paying tax, tax should be justifiable. But also, we know that in to pay taxes that can contribute to the development of the country. But that tax also should be justifiable, should also uplift the lives of citizens. So if you see in terms of the environment, economic environment that we have, Malawians are already struggling. So we cannot introduce punitive taxes that will burden the very same individuals that are paying other taxes in different sectors. So it will, have a negative impact, and that is why we are saying that I think government should revise the proposed taxes. In other countries, they have a very vibrant public sector in terms of the public transport, in terms of transportation. People can do their business using a vibrant public transport system. But in our case, people rely on the local transportation, the small vehicles that can allow people to do their small scale businesses. So if we introduce such kind of high taxes, I think it will impinge the rights of the citizens in terms of their economic activities. So we are raising those issues because we know that the taxes are on the higher side. You cannot value a tax on a vehicle more than the cost of the vehicle itself. I think it's on the higher side, and that is why we are raising these issues. A lot of people have asked us that question, that what will happen after 7 days. I think we are HRDC, and we will come back to Malawians in terms of the way forward. We know it, but we don't want to preempt in terms of what we are going to do. I have to say that citizens are the owners of this country. So whenever people are making decisions, they have to make decisions in the best interest of the citizens of this country. And as HRDC, we are pro-citizens, so we know what we are doing. So the 7, and soon after that is gone, we are going to announce the next course of action. And I have to assure Malawians that we are ready. We know what we are doing. We know where we are going, and even Malawians should not doubt about what we are saying.
Kelvin Banda is a tax expert. We asked him to dissect what is transpiring given the backlash that the Malawi Revenue Authority is getting.
The intention of the government is, in fact, to collect more money, as in taxes, because the source of the income of the government will depend on taxes. So the government is really desperate. So they want to they think that they will collect more money if they introduce that type of tax, which is not true. It is not true in the sense that there are several ways of which the government can collect money. What they have done is that many people will be scared to be paying taxes. It's punitive to the citizens. Government, they can do a lot. They're desperate for money, they want more money. What they can do to get to collect more money is to make these taxes flexible. When these taxes are flexible, they encourage many people to come in. When they have many people in the tax net, they will collect more money than what they are thinking. I heard some government officials saying that they're spending a lot of forex by importing new vehicles. Citizens are spending a lot of forex importing new vehicles. What the government should do is to come up with policies to the transition from consumption to production. The government, the country should be producing, adding value, then exporting, then you can have a lot of forex. That's what they can do than pushing people or stopping people to be importing vehicles. That line of thinking is not true. What I've said, that the government is desperate for money and their source of income is only taxes. So they think that they will collect more money. Here in Malawi, many people are running away from taxes because taxes there are too high. So they're not collecting as much as they can collect. So they think that if they introduce that, they'll collect more money. So what they have to do is just to make these taxes flexible so that they can bring many people in the tax net and they can collect more. That's what they can do. This should be rescinded as quickly as possible because now as it is, every citizen is scared. Every citizen is talking about it. It can even bring chaos in the country. So what they have to do as a country is to make sure that they revisit the decision, or they should rescind the decision. They should think of doing other things which can reduce people like to be running away from other taxes. Government, there are several procedures or things that the government should do, but we are wondering why are they thinking within that line instead of working on corruption. You see, many people they're stealing government monies, and as citizens, we are hearing on a daily basis that people are stealing government money. They go to court, they get out on bail. You see, so what citizen will be thinking? The citizen will be like, these people are stealing our money, and they will not be paying taxes because the money that have been stolen, they are tax money. So government should work very hard on reducing the level of corruption, and so that people should be encouraged to comply, to be paying taxes.
The Malawi Stock Exchange says a lot of Malawians don't have the desire to trade on the stock market and, of course, make long-term investments. Malawi Stock Exchange Chief Executive Officer John Gamanga says in Malawi, only 50,000 Malawians are trading on the counter. But what are they doing to change the tables?
One of the issues which is, I wouldn't say it's really discouraging, but lack of knowledge. That at least on, as a stock market, these things actually cost lots of money, and we're having a population of 19 million. And looking at the size of Malawi Stock Exchange as a company itself, we cannot reach each and every corner of Malawi. That's why we actually applaud the coming in of Misaliko as another player which has taken a step forward in terms of actually bringing awareness to the general public. All along, the financial literacy programs has been undertaken by the stock market as well as actually the Reserve Bank of Malawi through financial literacy division, which is actually sitting at the Reserve Bank of Malawi. But now that at least we have Misaliko, as well as we have also taken up a step in trying to come up what we call source books in secondary schools, such that even our children, our kids at secondary schools, they're able actually to understand issues of financial literacy, such that they are going to make or to undertake informed investment decisions, especially in terms of once you have somebody who is well knowledgeable about financial literacy, you find that your decisions, they are well informed in terms of undertaking. For example, whenever you have the money, you should be in a position to come up with a budget. How are you going to utilize those funds in terms of, i.e., the funds, where is the source of your funds, how are you going to spend those funds?
William Matewere is a chairperson for the financial literacy for minority shareholders. Let's hear his take of this matter.
As Mr. Liko, we saw the gap that existed about information, that the people were not being given the right information. They thought maybe participating on the Malawi Stock Exchange was a preserve for the elite. So now we want to take the message out there so that every Malawian should know that they can participate on the Malawi Stock Exchange. They can buy shares on the Malawi Stock Exchange. We got people from Malawi Stock Exchange. We got people from stock brokers. We got people from transfer secretaries. We got the fund managers. All these people are involved in the processes for somebody to buy shares and to be part owner of the listed companies on the Malawi Stock Exchange.
Amidst the pressure and influence from government for stock-listed Ilovo Sugar Malawi to reduce its commodity price, we talked to Managing Director of Ilovo Malawi, Legan Garandura, on the stance of the organization, or the entity. Are they going to reduce sugar prices or not? But first, let's hear how business has been and what they are going to do about this pressure from different sectors.
Of the actual information we were able to share with our investors, that if you want to use the official exchange rates, then you can support that perception that sugar is higher priced in Malawi compared to our neighboring countries. But the reality of the matter is that our official exchange rates do not represent the exchange rates at which the market is transacting today. Most parts of the market today are transacting between 1,600 kwacha per dollar to as high as 1,800 kwacha per dollar. And even if you take that lower end of that range, then our sugar prices come out to be cheaper than all our neighbors. And in practice, this is our experience as well, because we have been to different parts of Malawi, including the border areas, and in all cases, we're finding that traders in the border areas are buying sugar from Malawi and selling it at a profit in Mozambique, in Zambia, and Tanzania. We responded to all those calls. We responded to government privately, and we also responded to our minority. There was one minority shareholder in particular that said, speaking as a consumer, she would also want to see lower prices. And we did outline that, look, we have been in that space before where our prices are significantly lower than our neighboring countries for a sustained period of time, and the end result was that we actually ran out of sugar and we had no sugar in Malawi. So as much as it sounds very appetizing to a consumer to say reduce the price, the reality is it can actually generate a lot of pain afterwards, as was the case last year in April and May, when we ran out of sugar in the country, and it was a struggle to get your hands on sugar, and when you got it, it was actually at significantly higher prices than our normal recommended retail prices. So we try and set our prices in such a way that we can also sustainably supply the product throughout the year by trying to make it less attractive for people just to export or smuggle across to neighboring countries. We always try and make sure that we are favorably priced compared to our neighboring countries, but that difference cannot be too big, otherwise it becomes too attractive for traders to buy a lot of sugar in the country, export it to neighboring countries, and we run out, and that's not good for Malawi either.
Now, during the company's annual general meeting in Banda, Leganigarandul also disclosed that the company wants to diversify its line and, of course, start producing power. It already does produce power in Inchalo and Duango, but they want to produce more to sell.
So we're talking about continuing to develop our footprint in the agri space, and also complementing what the government is looking for in terms of setting up mega farms or anchor farms with value addition, not just raw production. And we are exploring various opportunities, including testing to grow at a small scale different crops to see what could be technically viable in our estates, and therefore thereafter we can then expand production of whatever we choose, dependent on the results of the trials that we are running for different crops, including the cotton, the soya that you're mentioning. So dependent on which crops turn out to be good and viable for the locations of our estates, and also the viability of the value addition that we can do, and the sizes of the markets in those areas, then in the next 1-2 years we should get to a point where we can be more definitive in terms of what alternative crops we're going into and how we're scaling up over the coming years. So we are exploring opportunities to grow in terms of how much power, electricity we produce. Today we produce enough power to run our 2 factories in Inchalo and Duangwa. We would like to produce more power, enough to not only run our 2 factories, but also to run or address all our agricultural needs and even feed some into the national grid. If all goes well, we could get to the point where instead of taking north of 20 megawatts from the grid from Chalo and Dwengwa, we could actually be giving into the grid north of 30 megawatts from the 2 locations.
Sunbed Tourism PLC has posted an after-tax profit of 3.1 billion kwacha in the year ended 2022, a rise of 307% from the 2021 profit of 749 million kwacha. Now, the company's board member, Maureen Kajengwe, told Business Now that this follows a best performance, among others, through intensified marketing and strong cost containment measures. But in this interview, we speak to Sunbed's Chief Executive Officer.
Our performance on the top line is in the mid-50s, that is 55% above last year. As you know, last 2 years, that is 2020, 2021, was a very difficult period for tourism industry because of the COVID-19 impact. So we are really coming from a weaker base. That said, but the brand has shown a resilience, and we've even grown the bottom line by 301%. So basically that's the performance. We know we are coming from a weaker base, but still more, the resilience that the brand has shown is quite good. Registering 48% occupancy was not a mean achievement. The strong performance is coming from the response that we are getting from our guests, the dedication of our staff, and the trust in the brand. So we are enjoying very good business and good feedback as well from the guests that we get, and we are acting on those issues that they are being pain points for our guests, and that is helping us to always be on top of the game. And we are getting, by so doing, we are getting more business than our fair share.
EcoBank Malawi says it believes in investing in a secure and favorable business environment. The Pan-African Bank's Chief Financial Officer in Malawi, Fabiano Magolija, made the remarks as the bank made a 5.1 million kwacha contribution to Blantyre Police towards its initiative to install CCTV cameras in the Central Business District. Magolija is explaining more to Business Now.
For us to do our banking business, which is a commercial banking business, we need a safe and secure environment. Now, we have partnered with Blantyre Police Station, who are implementing the initiative of CCTV cameras in the CBD. So we feel that it will help to improve or enhance security. You are aware that for anybody to do business, for us to carry out our banking business, we need a safe and secure environment. Any insecurity anywhere scares away investors. It scares away business persons or entrepreneurs. But for business to thrive, for business to be conducted properly and make profits, you need a safe and secure environment. So we are happy that Blantyre Police Station have embarked on this initiative to monitor the criminal activities which are taking place in the CBD. Yeah, so far so good. We've done well. We'll be publishing our results in the maybe in a month or two.
Southwest Region Police Commissioner Richard Uhanga says they want to make Blantyre Police a 21st century policing community by adopting these technologies, and they want to do that to ensure that Blantyre remains a secure commercial hub in Malawi.
It is important to note from the onset that the project that Blantyre Police is implementing was conceived by the Regional Executive Committee of Community Policing and the Station Executive Committee of Community Policing for Blantyre Police, and they agreed that they needed to improve the way we conduct business in Blantyre, to try and modernize it and install surveillance cameras and improve our operations room. So this 5.1 will go towards the modernization of the operations room, but also the installation of these cameras in the crime-prone areas within the central business town. Hence my gratitude. Our competing ahead of us because they have employed the use of technology. For us to compete with them well and be able to deal with them, we also need to invest in technology. So the Malawi Police Service need to work very hard in investing in modern policing technology so that we can police.
This is where I've come to the end of this edition of Business Now here on Zodiac. I'm glad you were there. Be there next time as I bring you yet another edition of Business Now here on Zodiac. My name is Banda. It's goodbye.